So how do you actually log foods in the Fastnow app? Let me briefly show you. So there are multiple ways of logging food, and you should probably try them all while you are in your trial, if you're still in your trial, because a lot of them are only available for people who are sponsoring the app. And this is probably the only thing that we have added that is absolutely necessary for convenient usage of the app. But it's obviously also possible to just manually input foods without the AI functionality. But let's briefly get into all of them, and you will get a gut feeling for whether you need to sponsor the app or whether you just want to roll with the free version for now. So we have the plus button. The plus button represents the manual entry. This will be available to everyone for free. So you can basically briefly look for something in the database. The database is fairly small. It covers the fundamental foods that we recommend inside the app and inside the program as part of the protocol. So as long as you stick to the protocol, you can just search the database for your foods and log them, as simple as that. Let's say I've had 150 grams of chicken breast today. The remaining data is already been pre-populated as coming from the database, so you can just immediately add foods here. As you can see, it is now in the list, and all you need to do now is to click on the checkmark button on the right. And as you can see, the food now is marked as eaten, and the statistics have been updated at the top of the page. So the app is estimating that 150 grams of chicken breast is roughly 250 calories. And if we just, well, we can actually keep the protein eaten visible. This is 50 grams of protein roughly. Now, let me also show you how to delete a food. If you click on the three dots on the left and then you select delete, it will simply delete the food. Now we have deleted an item that was not marked as eaten, so there is no change to the statistics. Now let's have a look at the more exciting method of inputting the foods using voice. And once again, this is a functionality available to the sponsors of the app. Thank you for those guys who have supported the project today. Now, before we just add any food, what I want to show is a second thing that is worth noting, that there is this button called single. And single means we are logging one food item each time we add anything using the manual input, text input, or voice input. If you click on that single button, it will change to meal. Now the meal is opening up this container box at the bottom, and that means now every item that we're going to add from here on is going to be added into that box for you to save later as a meal. So this is if you're eating multiple items. Let's say we are eating about 150 grams of cucumber. 150 grams of cucumber and 100 grams of chicken breast. So as you can see, as soon as I click on the button, I speak and then I click again to conclude. It is now sending the information to the AI model, which is going to hopefully return the correct items into the list. As you can see, it returned the cucumber and chicken breast correctly into the list. And if we click on save now, and you can see also the total of estimated calories is at 188 calories. If you click on save now, it will be added as a meal, and you can expand on the meal to see what's in it. And you can also click the check mark to mark it as eaten, and it will be added to your statistics as expected. So this is pretty much it. This is the most important functionality to add foods daily. As you can see, using voice, this can be really comfortable, especially if you're using simple foods. This is working really well, and it's well tested. Now, you also have the AI text functionality. And here we can say something like tomato. Oh God, let's try again. Tomato. And then you click analyze, and it's going to send the food that you have entered to the model. It's going to try to recognize what kind of food that is, and it's adding it immediately to your list. Now it has added 123 grams. I don't know if a big tomato is only 123 grams in weight, but it sounds reasonable. And let me mark it as eaten by clicking on the check mark button. Here we go. This is another way of logging foods. Sometimes when you don't feel comfortable speaking out loud, but you do want to manage your food intake, you can use the text option. This is another AI function that is part of that sponsorship program. Once again, you don't need it. For the most part, if you have a well set up template, you don't actually need to log a lot of foods. And now let's quickly have a look at what templates are. In the top right corner, you have that little booklet. If you click on it, you will see that you have the most recently entered foods in the recent list. This is fairly comfortable once you're starting rotating the same foods. Let's say we want to re-add the pickles, and we just click on the plus button. Let me see what's going on here. It's not adding them. This is a little bug that we need to... No, now they've been added. Sometimes there is glitches like this. Now let's go back and we can see now the pickles are available here. We can mark them as eaten as well. Now let's go back to the template tab. It's just the second tab at the top. And we can add things to the template. What is a template good for? The template is for... It's a collection of foods that you normally eat. If you get into a well-organized system, most of the time you're going to consume from the same type of foods every day over long stretches of time. So you can just put them all into the template and then activate the little auto button. And the auto button is just going to add that list to your food list every morning, not marked as eaten. And you can just mark the foods that you actually eat from that list. So it's fairly comfortable. If you have a system that doesn't fluctuate, you can literally just work with the template every day. Now, I think that's the most important things worth mentioning. For sponsors, there is some experimental functionality that is going to be available, such as the Tomorrow tab. This will allow you to add foods to tomorrow from the menu here in the food tracking list, meaning you can split 50% of a food item and just send it for tomorrow, and it then will appear in your list tomorrow. And this is it. I mean, there is some management functionality that we may want to quickly touch on, such as, for example, let's imagine we wouldn't have eaten the pickles. Let's unmark it. And let's imagine we would have eaten only 50% of the portion that we have in the fridge. We can click on edit, and then we can choose half a portion, save, and we can duplicate that. And now we can send one of them to tomorrow. And as you can see, we have moved it to tomorrow. We haven't added it to tomorrow. There is a slight difference for convenience. And now if we go into tomorrow tab, we can see the pickles are here. All right, so then what happens tomorrow is that this is going to be moved into your today list. So it's a convenient way of splitting up foods that are not going to be fully consumed today, but are going to be consumed tomorrow. It's a bit of a gimmick, but for people who take it really seriously and want to plan one day ahead, that's possible. Okay, guys, I hope this was interesting. I'm going to cover the object at the bottom, which is the strategies around macros, in a separate video, but we have briefly touched on it here as well. I think it's an important component, but this is worth doing a separate video on.